All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pain Points webinar series. My name is Jessie Devine. I'm the Community Engagement Manager here at QuoteWerks. Our goal today is to dive into common business challenges that companies face when it comes to creating quotes and proposals. And today's pain point topic is struggling to standardize your sales reps' quotes and proposals. We know your time's valuable, so these webinars are going to be fairly short and we'll keep them under 30 minutes. We want you to be able to apply these solutions right away, and we want these webinars to be as quick and efficient as what your quoting process is or will be soon. So with every webinar, we'll go over the quick agenda of what I'll be covering today so you can see how easy it is to resolve some of these things. We'll start with discussing the pain point, then the solution of what we can do, and then I'll show you a live demo. And at the end, we'll have a live Q&A where you can just answer or ask any questions you may have during the webinar. So we'll address them at the end. I do want to encourage you guys to ask questions in the questions box. If I don't get to them for some reason, I will get to you after the webinar. And our webinars are recorded, so you can definitely get a recording of this, share it with your colleagues. We'll send you an email with the link. But we also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. You will get notified there, and definitely follow us on social media too. So today's quick webinar, we're going to be discussing the struggles, to standardize your sales reps' quotes and proposals. A lot of people purchase QuoteWerks because they wanted to make sure that the quoting process was scalable. And how do you make a quoting process scalable? You have to standardize, right? So perhaps your quotes don't look professional because each and every sales rep makes it their very own unique way. What may look good to them isn't necessarily good for, your company. Forgetting to add important information. Perhaps you have MSAs and SLAs and different pertinent information that you need to add to your quote that they forget regularly. Sales reps try to change layout, and it's really not a scalable solution when you have everyone doing it their own individual way. So how can we resolve some of these pain points that you might be facing? Well, the quote delivery window, which every single QuoteWerks user has, is a really great solution to this. You've all used it to send the quote out. There are little things within the quote delivery window that can make standardization really a great tool. So what we can do, you can start with a template so your documents are already laid out how you'd like. So if you haven't sat in on our templates webinar before, that's a really great one to see how to create templates. I'll go over that today a little bit, but we do go more in depth in an older pain point webinar. You can require documents to be added to each quote, and also you can automatically attach documents associated with products and services. So whenever you add a product or service from your database, if you have an associated document, it's going to automatically be added to your quote. So you don't have to think twice about it. Really great shortcuts to make sure that everybody has the important information on your quote. So with that, let's get to the live demo. Let me get this set up for you guys in just a moment. And don't forget to ask questions if you do have any. All right, so here we go. So here is QuoteWerks. I'm going to start by creating a template. A template is a great way to set your sales rep off to a great start. It's basically a pre-created quote for you, so you don't have to create a quote from scratch every single time. But before I create the template, I do want to go over the deliver window and just show you, what it is that we'll be looking at and understanding what it is. So typically with a layout, it's going to be blank. We have a cover page available if you wanted to add any kind of cover pages. That is certainly a great way to set an intro for a proposal. We have the layout. This is really the meat of your quote and proposal. It's where you're going to have all of your document information as far as what you've added to the quote, your line items. That's the layout. You have a primary layout, but if you wanted a secondary layout, you can also do that too. We have the literature tab. Typically, people use this for anything that you use regularly for the quote, so you don't have to attach it every time. This could be your About Us, your agreements that you might have, your subscription agreements or your service agreements. This is typically the place we see everybody attach it. Spec sheets are anything that might be related to a particular line item on your quote. So if you use Eatalize, for example, or Real-Time and Eatalize, that has, if you pull a product from one of your distributors, the spec sheet is available for those items and you can attach it right here. The links tab is for any external sources that you might have to attach the quote. So for example, it could be a YouTube link, it could be a Microsoft document, whatever it is, it could be anything that's external that you want to attach to this, one specific quote. This is typically where we see it. So this links tab is actually associated with this links tab. So you attach it here, anything you add here is going to be available in your links tab over here. So with that, let's create a template so that you can see what it's like for a sales rep if you wanted to create a template for them. It's a very simple process. It's as if you're creating a regular quote. Today I'm going to do something very simple. I'm just going to create a section header and another section header. Okay, so I want this quote to always a template that's blank, but I want the section headers on there for my sales reps so that it's really easy for them to just start a quote with some headers already in there so I don't have to do it every time. Something that's really nice is that you can also set any of these other sections as well in there so that your sales rep doesn't have to remember to do it every time. So if I have this payment selected, that will be available to them. So something else that's really nice is when you hit the deliver window, you can set the layout format for them without them having to figure it out themselves. So you can attach a cover letter if you wanted to, attach the pertinent literature information if you wanted, and anything else. But in order for this to be remembered, you have to click preview. So if you want somebody to remember to look at this quote or to use the template in this way, you want to select preview. If you don't select preview, that layout format will not be remembered. So looks pretty good, has all my information here. So now let's create the template. So all you have to do is go to File, Save as Template. We're going to call this, Product Service Header, and your template's created. So how you know it's a template, it's going to say quote template here. So if I wanted to use the template, I want to make sure all my layouts are good. If I wanted to use the template, I could just go to New, select Template. We want to find that product service header. And now our template's created. When we go to Deliver, we can see that all of our layout items are in order as I created them, which is a really cool tool. Now, if you wanted, you can actually have your sales rep start with the template every single time so that typically when you click New, it's going to go to a blank page. But if you wanted, they can start with the template every single time. And in order to do that, you simply need to go to Tools, My Preferences, the Miscellaneous tab, and you can actually select it right here. So if I wanted to select the template that I've created, I can do that. Let's close out of everything. And when I click New, it's going to start with the template every single time. So really great shortcuts to make sure that it's standardized. You can see the layout there is available. So I actually want to go back and start with blank so I don't start with this particular template every single time. All right. So I do want to show you where to manage the templates if you ever wanted to manage them. Go to Templates. So Open Window. I did that pretty fast. So Open Window, the Templates button on the left-hand side, and then you can manage your information here. So if you ever need to make an adjustment to a template, you can certainly do that. All right. So let's start off with a new quote for a moment. Let me just, all right. All right, so let's start as if I'm going to create a new quote now. Let's say you don't actually want to start with the template every time. That's perfectly fine. Something I want to show you is that if you did want certain information in your quote every single time without creating a template, you can certainly do that. Right now, I don't have any required items aside from the simple layout right here. If I wanted, I can have my document require information every time. So I go to Tools Options in order to do that. Then there is a Print tab. In the Print tab, there's a Literature Defaults section. There's a Quote Literature Defaults, Order Literature Defaults, and Invoice Literature Defaults. For today, I'm going to start with Quote Literature, but it's going to be formatted in the same way. This is literature that is associated with quote, order, or invoice. So when I click Quote, I want to make sure that my About Us and our agreement information is required for every single quote. I know that it's important for my sales reps, so I'm going to make sure that's checked. When I press OK, that's going to be set. So I do want to close out of this quote and start with a new quote before I show you. But if I do that, when I click Deliver, you'll see that it's automatically included every single time. So that's a great tool to make sure that you have the right information and it's standardized no matter who is creating the quote. Something else I want to note is, I want to change the order here, is that you can require information for cover letter layout and literature. So for the cover letter, this star is going to set a default. So when you want a specific cover letter every single time, you want to do select your layout or whatever cover page you want and click star. That's going to be the default for all cover pages moving forward. Now, I do want to note this is a per user setting for this one, so you'll want to make sure your sales reps do that. So has been set as the default, which is great. Now I'm going to set that. And then for layouts, if you want to select a default layout, you just right click on one and set as default for quote. In literature, I have shown you, you have to do that under the print layout tab. Now you can see here that this is checked and uncheckable. If you want to make sure that your sales reps don't uncheck it, there is a security setting that I'll show you at the end of the webinar to make sure that they can't take it out. All right, so something else I want to show you, I'm going to just build out a quote just as if we're going to make one. But I did mention earlier that you can have spec sheets that are particular, or spec sheets that can be associated with a line item or product or service. So when you attach it or you add that item to the quote, it's going to automatically attach a spec sheet. So let's just make my headers really quick. Alrighty. Okay, so let's add some products here. So I want to add my labor to my quote. Add some monthly support as well. Why not? All right, so I want to add thin client item. So I have a thin client I have for my product, wireless keyboard and mouse, as well as a monitor. Okay, so now I have all my items on the quote. So now I want to show you that since I added the items on my quote, I want to show you that one of these items had a spec sheet that is attached to it. So you can see here that I've the spec sheet was automatically added to the quote without me having to do anything. This is a really great tool, especially if you have support service agreements, anything that's related to certain things. You want to make sure your ducks are in a row and that you're not missing any legal information. So really cool tool. So how do you actually attach the spec sheet to the product? Well, you go to the products and it's in your actual edit item window. So select the item You can either right click, edit item, or select the E in green. Go to the advanced tab, and here you'll see the spec sheet. So you can pull it, you can store these items in your spec sheets folder or resources folder within your QuoteWerks directory. But this is where you would attach that. So every time you attach an item or add a product or service that has a spec sheet, it can be automatically attached. So really great tool. So we can see how easy it is. So we have our layouts, our agreements. All right, let's do cover page. I don't know if I, oops. All right, let's move that to the top and let's preview it. So as you can see, it's a really simple way to create a great looking quote and proposal for your customer. So highly recommend some of these small tricks for you guys. So somewhere I do want to make sure that everybody does have the spec sheet checked. So something I want to show you is where to actually make sure that is done. So you go to Tools, My Preferences, go to the Miscellaneous tab, then to the Printing tab, and you can see here, select all spec sheets for print on initial print. That is checked. You can also make sure that the default primary layout filter and default additional layout filter is set to all. You can check all these. So these settings are really nice for you guys. Okay. And something else I want to show you is you might be wondering where you store some of these literature items or documents that are for your deliver window. That's going to be inside of your QuoteWerks directory. And in order to find your QuoteWerks directory, the easiest thing to do is go to Help, About. And if you go to System, under the install path is really the house for QuoteWerks. It's everything that's important inside of QuoteWorks, that's going to be here. So to add your literature information, you go to the literature folder. All you do is drop it in there. So it looks just like you would see inside that deliver window under the literature tab. Just drop it in there. There's also the cover letter page and other important information. So resources, spec sheets, and everything like that. So really easy. All you do is drop that information into there. And something else I wanted to show you also is the security setting for your layouts. So let's go to the security settings. So I'm a master rights user, so when I see the deliver window, I can do anything. I can change anything because I have the highest rights. But let's say for a sales rep, they have very limited rights. All you have to do is go to user maintenance under utilities, go to the user. I'm going to edit Cameron Poe, edit, and then go to the access tab. This is where you can make sure that they cannot access certain things. And obviously this is a very gigantic list with lots of words. The best way to find this information is to just type in, layout, and it'll highlight the items that you want to look at. So right now I have it so the Cameron can't create print layouts, can't modify, can't delete anything. So he cannot change anything on the layout. But I also want to make sure that the literature information is not toyed with as well. So I have that. I type it in. Oh, it's already checked. So we're really good. So he can't maintain, modify any literature information, can't change those selections. This is a really important, um, you know, security setting so that he can't make those changes. So let's go to Cameron's login really quick. Let's save this. And let's go to Cameron's login. Okay, so login as another user. I'm going to go in as Cameron. All right, so when I click deliver for Cameron, you're going to see here that he can't change anything. So really great way to make sure nothing gets changed, no layouts can be edited, things like that won't be a security issue for you guys. So really simple things that can make a huge difference as far as making you more scalable, making sure that your reps don't change anything with your quotes and layouts. You want to make sure it's standardized so it looks the same no matter who in your company is making it. So I do want to open it up to questions. If you do have questions, definitely send it in the questions box. But before, if you're going to head out, I do want to mention some of our resources that are available to you. Our support team and our sales team are always available from 9 to 5. You can call us, very little to no wait, and you can certainly email us with your questions. We offer free trials for anything that we offer. We have over 200 videos on our website for training, help documentation, live and recorded webinars just like now. And of course, we offer services if you did want one-on-one training or customizations. We're available to you. So thanks again for everyone who's attended today. If you have any questions, definitely ask in the questions box. And let me stop the recording really quickly before